My name is Drew. Welcome to my dungeon. Today we're going to be talking about sin. Sin is the nasty stuff that makes you feel grimy, dirty, and it disconnects you from God. We're going to be ranking it based on which are the hardest to overcome. And I want to let you guys know I just took a copious amount of caffeine, so I'm ready to go. Let's get to it. All right, first up to bat, we have lust.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Lust is weird. Lust makes you feel really weird. You do a lot of poor things, a lot of bad judgment when you are under lust. And I will tell you, I know who I'm speaking to. My last video, 100% of people viewing were men. 100%. Not 99.9%. All of you watching my videos are men. If you're a woman out there, well, salute to you. You're a soldier. I hope I don't scare you away. But lust is what damages so many men. I mean, look at Samson, look at Solomon, look at David himself, Solomon's dad. Lust can really just change a man's brain, and it takes control of people, and it's very scary. You can do things that you weren't supposed to do off lust and change as a person really quickly, and a lot of people separate from God off that lust. And for that reason, I don't think there's any debate on this one. I think we're all in agreement here as most of us are young men. We're going to put lust in the run tier, and you better run quickly. Laziness, or a more biblical word for it would be sloth. So sloth is a very interesting one because, 2,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, even 1,000 years ago, it was a lot harder to be lazy, right? We live in such an easy world these days. I mean, think about it. You can literally go on your phone, which is connected by Wi-Fi and data, which is all outside of our understanding, and you can order a chicken sandwich to your house within 5 minutes. It's pretty spectacular what we have these days. And I think that if you ask someone about the sin of sloth or laziness 2,000 years ago, they would just laugh in your face and be 250 pounds of pure muscle, milking the cows all day and farming their own food and hunting. So, sloth nowadays, it's a lot harder for us, especially if you're in America. A lot of us are extremely lazy in America. So, sloth, I would say, for us today, sloth is sneaky. I mean, think about it. You can really just go on your phone, scroll on TikTok, and not even think that you're being lazy, and you just fall into this trap of the sloth. And also, kind of a side note, but it's pretty tragic that a whole species of animals was named after a negative attribute. That's just it's a little disrespectful, honestly, because sloths seem like wonderful creatures. But yeah, sloth, I would say sloth is in the sneaky tier. It's not extremely tempting. I don't think people really see sloth and they want to have a piece of that. I think it's more just something you just kind of fall into. And for that reason, we're going to put sloth in the sneaky tier. Let's talk about food now. Gluttony. So gluttony, it's different for different people. I think that when you're in America, we like to eat. We definitely like to eat. I love to eat. I know you like to eat too. So it's different. And I also think gluttony would be more of a problem for me. You see, but I live in Minnesota. Minnesota, the eats here they're kind of hit or miss. One thing I find very interesting is, if I lived in the South, of course, I'd be overweight, guaranteed. So I understand why there's more obese people in the South. Totally understandable. I would be one of them. But they say that, white people don't have culture. But I don't know. We make some pretty decent casserole up here. I don't know if y'all ever heard of a hot dish. You got to try a tater tot hot dish. I want you to look up tater tot hot dish right now. It doesn't look the best. I promise you it's gas. But gluttony it's an issue in America. And it's definitely an issue in the South. I mean, the food is just spectacular down there. And I also think it is kind of a sneaky one. I really do. It can be addicting. Of course, food can be addicting. It can be like a comforting thing for some people, right? I mean, if you're stressed, you turn to food. I've done that before. The snacking, the late night snacking. I think it could be addicting for a lot of people, and it has been addicting for me. But for me, it's more sneaky. You don't really notice that you're eating a lot, and it just kind of sneaks up on you, and you realize that you've been overdoing it on the sugar intake, you've been overdoing it on one way or another, and it is horrible for your physical health, and it affects your mental health and your relationship with God for sure, in my experience. So I'm going to put gluttony also in the sneaky tier. All right, this is kind of a weird one. Gossiping, fellas, come on. I understand everyone has their own issues, but we have testicles. We can't gossip. We can't gossip about other men out here. It's very weird. I think men are very direct. So when you hear about men gossiping about each other, it's a very odd thing. And it's very odd to react to. And like I said, if there was women watching this channel, I think the women are usually repelled by my presence. So I don't think there are any women present here. But for women, gossiping is a huge issue sometimes, and I totally understand that. But gossiping is not such an issue, honestly. I think that it can be. It can be a habit. I think most of these can become a habit, and I definitely think that gossiping, it can be tempting at times, right? Where like you see someone do something and you want to talk behind their back. I get that. I definitely understand that. But, just for the fact that as men, just the way our minds work, the way our biology is, it's not really in our genes and our blood to gossip as much. And so, therefore, although it is a sin, although I have gossiped, and it's not good for anyone, and it's definitely not good for them, yourself, nobody involved. Nobody likes gossip. Gossip is super lame. But just because, as men, I don't think we gossip much. It's not really a temptation as much for us. We're going to put in the tread lightly tier. It's still a sin. Don't engage in gossip, of course, but it's not as addicting. Doesn't have that death grip as the other ones do. Let's talk about one that ruins friendships, ruins relationships. Jealousy. Jealousy is. I'll tell you why that jealousy is actually addictive. Jealousy is extremely addictive, and I'll tell you why. So let's say that you drive a little Toyota Corolla. Ain't nothing wrong with a Corolla. Corollas are wonderful. They're going to last you forever. Run it 300,000 miles into the ground. But let's say you're a car guy and you drive a Corolla. Now it's a little iffy. It's not the flashiest car in the world, of course. Let's say you see that. What's a good car? Let's say you see a little Porsche. You see that little Porsche driving by. You're jealous. Okay. Well, you get a little bit of money, you start working hard, you have a Porsche, then you see the Lambo drive by, you're jealous. Jealousy is addictive. You can never get, you always want more, you always want the next best thing, you always want a little bit more money, the next nicest car, whatever the case is. And I think that jealousy can be extremely addictive and, in a sneaky way, I suppose. But it's the more mindset. Which is also ties into another one, hint, greed. But yeah, jealousy can definitely get addictive, and for that reason, we're putting jealousy in that tier. Dad, I want to be a real boy. Lying. I think that's what Pinocchio said. Dad, I want to be a real boy. I don't know. I'm a 2002 baby. We did not watch much Pinocchio, but lying. Yeah, lying, this one sucks, and I'll tell you why. So let's say you steal something, right? You definitely had an objective task, and you stole something, and it can be viewed, and everyone can see it. The thing about lying is that lying, it can be just the smallest little twist of a story, and therefore it can be really easy to do. I've had problems with this in the past, absolutely, where for example, if you were just hooping at a pickup game, and someone asks you, oh, like, how many points did you score last game? Instead of saying, I scored 2 points, you can just be like, oh, I scored 4 points. Double your score right there. There's a lot of little ways you can sneak lies into things, twist the truth, make yourself look better, downplay a situation. Lying can be very, I forget the exact word, like a manipulative liar, like a obsessive liar. I forget the exact term for it. But lying's very tough. And it's not necessarily just saying the direct opposite of the truth. It's really twisting the truth and making it fit the situation you want to, and that's dangerous. And also too, it definitely disrupts your spirit, and you feel extremely convicted after you lie. You know when you lied. You know when you didn't tell the full truth, and you weren't completely honest about something. And so, I'm going to put, for me personally, I mean, lying in my past has been addictive. It's very hard, and it's very hard to overcome once you start doing it. So just don't do it. But we're going to put lying in
Spit it out, man.
addictive. Jeez. I hope none of you guys watching right now got a little statue of a golden cow sitting on your counter. We had to pull up idolatry. This was a huge problem for the Jews in the past. I mean, they kept worshiping. They kept going back to Baal, the golden calf, the golden cow, and we think it's really silly. We look back and sometimes I think this. Other people who read the Bible think this. Just look at Baal and say, like, how foolish. They worshipped a golden cow, a golden calf. But man, sometimes I worship the wrong things too. Look at the celebrities we worship, right? I mean, look at Taylor Swift and the cult following she's gained. And some people responsibly watch her, but some people it's too much. So, I think it's very easy to get in that path of idolizing something. And the hard part about idolization is that it can really be anything. It can be as simple as a sport you love. It can be as simple as some money. It could be as simple as another person in your life. This is the most important thing. I want to please this person in my relationship. I want to make sure this friendship lasts, and you prioritize it. And it's really tricky. Idolatry, that is, it's a cursed sin. You shouldn't idolize anything above God, right? And so because of the history it's had, and because of the possibilities of what you could idolize, all the things that you could go through and make a mistake and choose to love more than God himself, idolize, you got to run. You got to keep running and run away from any idolization. If you sense it, you got to get it out. You got to run away from it, because your God should be at the top, of course. So idolization, just because of how easy it can be, the grip it can have on you once you really fall in love with the wrong thing. And yeah, just the history it's had, it's got to be in the run tier. Now this one, I feel like isn't as big of a problem for most people. Let's talk about stealing. It depends. If I live in California in 2025 and I can walk into a local Best Buy, take out $2,000 worth of stuff, leave without legal consequences, maybe it would be more tempting to me. But the thing about stealing is that I think there's a few things to it. One, like we talked about before, it's a very objective task. You know directly when you stole something. There's no way around it. There's no subjectivity to it. Twisting anything. No, you just took the thing and it's yours now. But sometimes it can be tempting. If there is a little cookie or something like that, something little, right? If there's like that little cookie or something like that, the last one in the jar, you're not supposed to eat it, but dang, it looked good. I think stealing is a little bit tempting. Stealing is tempting. It's not as repelling as gossiping. Gossiping, I feel like most people, most men don't have that temptation to do so. Stealing, I really don't think many men do either, and I don't really feel that as much. But it can be tempting in some situations. We're gonna throw stealing in the tempting tier. Now this one is gonna get a lot of mixed reviews. Wrath, anger. I think it really is based on your personality. I think that a lot of people, I haven't really struggled with this one as much because I have a more relaxed personality. Now, all of us went through that phase, ages, I'd say 3 to 8, where you're just a little rage child, where if something didn't go your way, you're throwing the bulldozer on the ground, there's wheels everywhere, axles on the floor. I think that wrath has been a huge problem for all of us men at some point, especially when we lose our cool, it can get dangerous. So, it really just depends on your personality. As you get older, some people are very intense and they have that wrath to them, short temper when they slip up. But a lot of men are very relaxed in that way. They don't have that wrath. They don't have that sense of anger or built up anger to take out on anybody. And wrath, it can be subtle too. You can say something a little mean to somebody with a little bit of anger in your heart, or just give a little jab at someone, when it's acceptable, like in a sports match or something like that. But for the most part, I think that wrath is going to be lower than a lot of things on this list. Like, for us men, wrath has got to be under lust. For majority of us, right? So we're going to throw wrath in the tread lightly tier. It's not really as like tempting like the other ones. Like, you don't really want to be full of wrath and anger, and it's not really sneaky. Like, it just happens. And so we're gonna put wrath in the tread lightly tier. It's time for a brutal self-reflection. Selfishness. Oof. Yeah, it's a little weird to talk about. I think all of us don't want to say we're selfish, but I'd beg to differ. I think I'm pretty selfish at times without even thinking about it. I mean, think of all the times when you could have, went out of your way to do something nice for somebody, or given up some part of your day, some part of your time, some part of your finances to help somebody out. And really, this one is hard because I feel like a lot of times you don't even realize all the opportunities you missed to help people. And when you were really just so self-centered on something. Yeah, and it's, being in America with that like individualistic culture, you should complete things on your own. You should separate from your family and build your own dynasty, which of course you are supposed to leave your mother and your father when you have your wife and everything. But then too, like, and also too, I don't know, y'all gotta tell me in the comments, those who are married, have a girlfriend, like, do your guys' girlfriends like tell you're selfish too often, or how do you balance that out? That having yourself while also providing for a lady. I wouldn't know. I haven't really had a successful relationship yet, and it's getting a little bleak for me. I definitely as you could tell, no woman watching, so I think that selfishness it's tough. It's hard to admit, but I think we all struggle with being selfish, absolutely, and it's not really addicting, and it's not really something you could always run from. So we're gonna put selfish in the sneaky tier. Selfishness is definitely sneaky. This is actually what inspired me to make this video. We're talking about drugs. We're talking about everything that is not alcohol. So weed, nicotine. What else? Weed, nicotine, hard drugs, caffeine. That's one that's hard to admit. Caffeine is a drug. Caffeine is a drug, and it's crazy because it sneaks up on you. You don't even realize you're addicted because it doesn't have as harmful effects as other drugs. But are you dependent on these things? And I know so many men that are addicted to nicotine. We talk about the vapes, we talk about the cigarettes, even the cigars. And while cigars are awesome, just puffing a big cigar is super sweet. It's tough, and weed is extremely addictive, and that's the hard part about weed, is that you can be addicted to it, and you can be so fooled into the thought that it doesn't have harmful effects on you, while it does long term, and it really affects your conversations with people. It makes you feel less focused in the situation. It fries your brain over time, and when you become dependent on it, of course your lungs are getting weaker. And we haven't even gotten into the hard drugs yet. We haven't even gotten into the stuff that really just hurts you off the bat and continues to hurt you over time. It's funny because there's a tier called addicting, and drugs are not going to go in that tier. Drugs are not only they're sneaky, and not only are sneaky, they take over your life. I mean, think of all the stories that you've heard of people where it's their first time doing a hard drug, and now all their money is spent on it. They don't have a place to live, and it was all because of that first time taking that hard drug. And it's very sad to hear. And for drugs, we just have to. You got to run, brother. You got to run from the drugs. I mean, I think there are differences. Sure, there's tiers within the tier, right? If you have a caffeine addiction, right, and you're addicted to caffeine, that's not going to ruin your life. That's not going to ruin your relationship with God. But if you have, a really hard drug addiction, you could see your life unfold in less than a year, it's very scary to think about. And I'm sure we've all known people who have been through this. So drugs, you got to run. We're going to put drugs in the run tier. It's time to talk about that bottle. Dark, light, whatever it is, alcohol. You see, here's the thing with alcohol. We just talked about drugs, and now we're talking about alcohol. And believe me, I've seen a lot of people get messed up off alcohol. You know, it's a leading cause for cancer. It destroys your liver. You shouldn't really, use it often whatsoever. But here's the difference. I don't really see people taking a casual needle. I don't really see people, taking a little casual sniff of something. But I do see a lot of people take casual drinks just fine. And the thing is with that, though, when you take that casual drink, it could be 1 beer, 2 beers, if you're a bigger guy, 3 beers, and then that 4th beer, it hits you. Something hits you and you're out of that soberness. And when you're out of that soberness, you just open the door to what could be, lust, what could be XYZ of more sin. It is a gateway. A lot of people say, like they say weed's a gateway. Alcohol is a gateway too. It's a gateway into worse things. But for the most part, if you are, controlling of what you can do, alcohol is not extremely addicting. It won't take a huge grasp of your life as much as the drugs. Now, is it bad compared to a lot of other sins? Is it more tempting? Is it hard to get out of? Absolutely. Alcohol, it's a very underrated addiction, especially to, people my age, college age kids. A lot of them don't even realize they have the alcohol addiction. That's the hard part, right? Where it sneaks up on you. You don't even realize you have that addiction, and it's already taken a year off your life. Whatever it is, it's already messed up. It's already wasted so much of your time. It's already led you to poor decisions. I think that alcohol, you don't got to run from alcohol. You can have a beer, right? Of course, you can have a nice little mixed drink without getting out of that soberness and doing something ridiculous to yourself and disconnecting yourself from the Lord. But it's addicting for sure, and that's really obvious. Alcohol is that gateway for young people like me to just end up doing something worse and worse and to lead into worse things. Alcohol is going to the addicting tier. Us Christians have struggled with this since the church first came together. Greed. It started with the Catholic Church making some mistakes, and now it's led into all these mega pastors and preachers and worldwide, people preaching around with their gold chains on and their fashion on, and it's like, man, come on. I think that, most preachers and pastors are very, very sound with the finances and everything. It's unfortunate that we paint such a bad picture with some of the preachers and some of the pastors that go out and they use this greed and try to get more money to make themselves look good, to preach, and when really you just need God to provide for you. Greed is a tough one, and it's really tough because money, you can't avoid it, right? It's in our everyday lives. It's how we survive, right? You need to buy things. You need to earn, to provide for yourself, to provide for others. It's really unavoidable, especially too. There's a lot of Christians that work in finance, and so there's a lot of ways that money can be twisted within the church, within the work, within everything you can do. And this is one of the most famous quotes of the gospel is harder for a rich man to go to heaven than for a camel to go through the eye of the needle. And that parable, it's really stuck with me. It's taught me a lot, and it's also hard to find that balance, right? Because a lot of us, we want to earn well so we can give to others. We can provide for others, provide for these mission trips, and invest in yourself, invest in your family, so that that your finances are good, you're set. You can send them to college. You can do whatever you need to with the money for your own business, whatever the deal is. So I think that money's a very slippery slope. And also too, a lot of people get weird with money in the church, get weird about donations, get weird about giving money to the church, when really, how else are they going to keep running? It's a very hard topic to talk about for a lot of us Christians because of the blemished past and also what it could lead to. It's so dangerous. And I would put it in run. You can't really run from it. That's the problem. It's everywhere in our everyday lives. You have to deal with it and use it responsibly. You have to use your money responsibly. You have to, be able to be a good steward of what you have without overusing it. And it's not really addicting either. Actually, I don't know. I think it definitely could get addicting when you're talking about money and talking about income. You want more and more and more. I think with the money we're gonna have to put in addicting. Money, the greed of money, the love of money is the root of all evil, which is it's a very powerful quote. It's a very powerful message, and you can't really run from it. So we're gonna have to put money in the love for money, greed, and addicting. Now this one ties right in with lust, but it's so bad it had to have its own category: adultery, cheating. Now let me ask y'all something. So y'all get a girlfriend. Y'all can get girlfriends, right? Most of you guys out there, have girlfriends, have had girlfriends, wives, husbands, if there's, any woman watching, once again. But y'all have girlfriends. Y'all have wives. How do you cheat on them? You guys are out here cheating, and I can't even get one. This is ridiculous. I don't know what to tell you guys, because this action is disgraceful. It's extremely disgraceful, disrespectful to yourself. You ruin everything in the process. You don't drop a dime and throw away a dime to pick up a penny, right? So I don't really understand this personally. Now, would it be tempting? Absolutely. I mean, dude, you go to your local Planet Fitness if you have a girlfriend, and girls are walking left and right in front of you, barely wearing any clothes. Like, there's a lot of women in today's society who are putting it out there, and it could be tempting, and it could just be thrown in your face, of course, at times. But man, messing up a good thing is really sad. It really is. And I really think that most people just want that true love that they can bond together and come to God through it. And I really don't think that a lot of you guys are focused on cheating. At least, my subscribers, we don't cheat. My subscribers don't cheat. And I know that. So we're going to put cheating and tempting. It seems like something that would be extremely tempting to do, but I really don't think that you guys want to mess a good thing up. So we're going to put cheating and tempting. I know you guys been running today. You better keep running. You better find a little bit more stamina, just a little bit more. Money is the root of all evil, but pride is the root of all sin. I just had this conversation with my roommate the other day. Pride really is the root of all your sin, because why would you go sin if you had trust in God? You don't have trust in God because you have the pride that you think your ways are better. And when you think your ways are better, you fall. So pride is it's the root of all your sin. When you're straying from God and you truly believe that your way is better, it's okay. Like, I know I can bounce back from this one time. I have the pride and the ego that I can go away from God and get right back. You don't know that, man. You definitely don't know that. Your last day could be today. And I think that pride, you see all these great men fall due to their ego. They didn't humble themselves before God, and they fall. They make a great fall. So I know you guys have been running today. I know you guys have been doing a lot of running. You're going to need to keep running. You're going to need to find that extra gas tank. We're going to put pride in the run for our last run category. If I suck, if I made anything that you disagree with, email me. My email is in the description. I would love to reach out to you guys, or you guys to reach out to me. Let's talk about it. And you guys gotta let me know what you want below, man. This is our channel together. I want to make sure I'm hearing you guys out, and I just love you guys so much. I thank you all for the support you guys have been giving me. It's been awesome to grow, and I couldn't do it without you guys, of course. So thank you so much for that. And let me know what you want to see, and we'll see you in the next video.